Hello and welcome to Shanghai Eye. Monday through Friday on Dragon TV, we bring you stories to explore and decode China. Hi, Meng Ying.
Hi there, I'm He Jian. We will look at business, tech, urban life, arts and culture, and sports, and everything going on here in the city. Today, we are continuing our look at what's coming up in China's 15th five-year plan. And this time, Timothy Pope brings you an overview of what the government is saying about the economy as a whole and the direction that's going to take in 2026.
The big headline for the Chinese economy is always GDP growth. We don't know what the target will be yet, and the central government has been trying to wean itself off the idea of these hard targets in recent plans. But I think we can expect to see growth targets remain around 5% annually. Now that that's out of the way, how are they planning to do that? Because the government knows that it can't rely on the property market as a growth engine anymore. In fact, that's more likely to become a drag on growth. So talk is all about increasing domestic demand, unleashing consumer spending, which the annual Central Economic Work Conference identified as being top of its list of 8 priorities. Now, this is incredibly important because Chinese consumer spending has always lagged as a percentage of GDP compared to other global economies. We know that China makes a lot of stuff and it exports a lot of stuff, which people from all over the world buy. But China's problem has become that people here don't buy enough of the stuff. One thing that is encouraging and I think gets overlooked in a lot of the analysis is services, partly because people are so focused on stuff and manufacturing. And we are seeing some pretty encouraging signs in services. If we look at the 14th five-year plan period, service consumption growth was pretty strong, even as retail sales wobbled. So from 2020 to 2024, service consumption was up 9.6%, and in the first 8 months of 2025, it was up 5.1%, definitely outpacing the growth in household spending on goods. And this is very interesting because it tells you what Chinese people want to spend their money on now. It's less about the stuff, it's more about experiences. So how does the 15th five-year plan mean to consolidate all of that? Well, that's where China's new growth model comes in. The bottom line goal of the new model is to increase household incomes so that people can spend more, increase government tax revenue and therefore the amount of money that the government can spend on social programs. These are things like welfare, pensions, and the health system. All of that sounds great. So how do we get there? Well, through a lot of the things that we have discussed in other videos. 1, upgrading industry through technology. Programs like AI+, robotics, and so on. That can increase productivity, increase profits, and therefore increase government tax revenue. 2, develop new technologies. Be at the forefront of the next wave of tech that the world is going to crave. 6G, drones, robots again, AI again, quantum computers, and more. 3, export all of this and open up new export markets, as we've seen China do very successfully since Donald Trump's Liberation Day tariffs were announced. So there you've got the 3 pillars that the government has talked about for putting more money in the hands of households who are then able to spend it. And this will be where you see a lot of attention focused in the next 18 months to 2 years and beyond. At the Central Economic Work Conference in December, we saw some first steps. After the draft 5-year plan said that China would take extraordinary measures to push technological innovation, leaders came out of that conference announcing the creation of 3 tech and innovation centres, one in Beijing, one in Shanghai, and one in the Greater Bay Area. So the government is not dragging its feet. This new growth model isn't something that might happen sometime in the next 5 years. Work has already begun. So lastly, let's look at the biggest challenges that the 5-year plan is going to have to address. The government is going to have to continue to address the housing market. That is very much an ongoing task for all levels of government. And at the economic meeting in December, we saw Chinese leaders encouraging more unsold developments be acquired for use as affordable housing. The other is involution, 内卷. This is incredibly damaging for the Chinese economy. And the government knows that if it's not successful in reining in excessive competition between private companies, businesses join a race to the bottom and everyone loses. Ever since I've been in China, I've witnessed industries go through these damaging cycles of involution. Ride-hailing, electric vehicles, and food delivery have really been the ones that are most visible to consumers, but it goes a lot deeper into Chinese industry. And the instinct for companies to try and grab market share through this excessive competition and price wars is finally getting the serious attention it deserves. Because if it isn't addressed, it could undermine all of those efforts to build a new economic model over the next 5 years, put more money into people's pockets, and make China a wealthier society.
Ever walked into a shopping mall and found a moving fairy tale town? And that's exactly what's happening right now in the Changying District shopping mall. An art exhibition called The Land of Wilderness, straight from the mountains of Yunnan, has taken over the space, and it's got people talking. Is it whimsical or just plain weird? Zhang Yue takes us inside.
Folk singer, poet, designer of a world some call a fairy tale, others find wonderfully weird. Meet Qiao Xiaodao, a self-taught visionary with zero formal architecture training, who turns discarded odds and ends into one-of-a-kind experiences you have to see and feel for yourself.
And welcome to Shanghai, where between skyscrapers and coffee shops, you'll find a mall containing a very bizarre fairy tale town that just moved.
A mall in Changying called The Place has transformed into a whimsical wonderland, filled with miniature cottages, tree houses, and animal-shaped huts, crafted from recycled scrap metal, tires, and discarded furniture.
每个作品都很特别，每个都是手工的。土人国是因为，在我们丽江荒野之国是太受欢迎了，是太大了，然后我就相当于把它缩小了。
Qiao envisioned the park as a place of healing, where visitors could reconnect with their imagination and return to childhood.
任何事情，不管是情感、家庭、事业，还有人生，每时每刻都会遇到伤口。最好的良药，无非就是时间。被人评价最多就是心灵医院，它就是让你来了之后，你觉得莫名其妙的快乐。
People aren't just visiting, they're talking. Where exactly is the line between whimsical and weird?
很鬼马，
神奇，
很梦幻吧，
更加有冲击力吧。
一直很想去云南看，但这回不用去云南了。星星的元素，看我的戒指，都是比较很奇奇怪怪的，然后还有大耳朵。
上海的话，一些快展也很多，但是像这种实景的，确实也是第一次过来。
今天不上班的服，我觉得跟其实成年人的这个世界也挺契合的。
把它直接搬到这个商场里来，这样子，人流方面我觉得也会吸引到一些人过来。然后南丰城这边本来因为它也宠物友好嘛，今天我们也带小狗出来了。
Shanghai is a city that will try just about anything, especially when it comes to art and culture.
虹桥南丰城所在的虹桥商务区，它是一个离虹桥机场、火车站比较近，可以完全直达的一个场域。我们最近也会发现有很多的这个中欧的人群，还有一些马来西亚、新加坡的一些人群也会到购物中心来进行消费。
因为我本来就是云南的，然后今年来到上海来读大学。丽江的那个荒野之国的话还没去过，所以上海办了这个巡展，然后我就来了。
这个是刚才签的吗？
对，刚才我排队签的。这边的话，因为是 homie 团嘛，我特地因为是通过6个哥哥才认识刀哥的，所以我特地带了一个 homie 团的，刀哥也帮我特地签了一个名，我特别开心，放松一下，就像小孩子一样的，一个感觉像虚拟的一个世界里啊，就是像放飞自我一样的。
That's really what it's all about. Some will find this interesting, others might not. It's about personal taste.
So, in a city that's always racing toward tomorrow, perhaps what we need most is a place that gives us permission to pause and simply wonder.
Now moving on to today's Shanghai A to Z section. If you are currently working in China or planning to do so, it is necessary to sign a valid labor contract with your employer. When disputes happen, the contract can be called into question, at which point it can be deemed valid, partially valid, or invalid. The term valid is self-explanatory. However, a contract is considered invalid if it is established through fraud, coercion, or by taking advantage of someone in a vulnerable situation, resulting in an agreement that does not reflect their true intent. Contracts also lose validity if an employer attempts to waive its legal obligations or strip employees of their rights, or if the agreement violates mandatory provisions of laws or administrative regulations. Partially valid means only part of the contract is ruled invalid. It's important to know that this does not affect the legal force of the remaining terms. The valid sections of the agreement will continue to apply.
If you've got any questions for us, you can find us on all the socials and all the content online as well.
And please do join us here on Dragon TV, Monday to Friday.
Thank you for watching. See you next time.